Now we'll just get started now. Seems like we've got the bulk of our attendees in the call. So welcome everyone to our Microsoft Teams Level 100 training. We're going to be going over the general functionality of Teams and some basic features and how you can navigate and use Teams throughout your workday. My name is Risa. I'm going to be your Microsoft trainer today. I've also got with me Kim. She's going to be moderating the chat for today's presentation. This is going to be a webinar style virtual training, so your mics are automatically muted and you are unable to come off or come on camera. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them into our chat box for today. Kim will let me know if there are any questions that need to be answered and just bring them to my attention. That way I can answer them for you. Also, if at any point during today's call, if you need clarification over something or you need me to go over something again in case you missed it or if I didn't explain it very well, please let Kim know in the chat and she'll let me know so we can go back over any points that you might need me to go over again. So like I said, Kim and we both work for the Microsoft Store. I thought you might like to know a little bit more about our organization in case you aren't too familiar with us. We are a global business spanning 190 countries digitally, and we engage customers in many ways and in many formats. Specifically, we have a program where we engage with our most strategic accounts, such as yours. We host executive meetings to share how we run our business called our Enterprise Experience Program. And we also host curated customer success trainings like we are doing today to ensure that our customers are able to achieve their goals. Today, we're going to be going over navigating Microsoft Teams. We actually will not be going over how to create your first team. Instead, we'll be going over what you can do inside of a team, all the different features available to you when you are a member of a team. We'll also be going over how to create a meeting and how to join a meeting and what you can do within a meeting as well. So before we actually dive into the live demonstration where I teach all of those things, we're just going to go over a few quick PowerPoint slides, giving a broad overview of some of the features that are available within Teams. So generally speaking, Microsoft Teams is a platform where you guys can all come together to get work done. So you can do so by staying connected through our video conferencing. We've got a bunch of awesome tools where you can bring all kinds of resources together into your shared workspace with your teammates where you can collaborate seamlessly. There's also a great feature that we'll be going over called co-authoring, which really allows easy collaboration on documents. It also simplifies work in a secure and compliant manner by bringing everything you need into one workspace. In order to achieve this, Teams has great features such as what is mentioned on this slide, which is Together mode. And as you can see here, it brings everyone into a common little space, so it feels like you're closer to your colleagues, makes you feel a little bit more, you won't feel as fatigued while doing your video conference calls by sharing a virtual space. It helps you feel a little bit more together, hence the name Together mode. We've also got closed captioning, which is great, and this is fantastic if you've got a lot of background noise during a call or meeting and you can't really hear what's going on in the meeting. You can turn on your closed captions and read along with what's being said instead. So this is great if you don't have headphones and you can't hear what's going on, or if you have any accessibility needs and you would prefer to read instead of just listen. Of course, we've also got customizable backgrounds that not only keep the focus on you during a video presentation, but also helps protect your privacy as well by blurring or completely getting rid of what people can see behind you. And you can customize these images however you'd like. Teams comes pre-built with several default ones that you can choose from, like plain white walls and apartment complex settings as well. I think they have like a beach setting that you can see there, but you can also upload your own images as well. So if you have any nice vacation photos that you would like to use as a background, you can do that as well. All right, now we're actually going to go into some more features that we're going to be talking about in more depth later. But a brief overview of our chat is that it is a persistent, threaded one-on-one and group chat availability. So you're able to communicate with your colleagues on a one-on-one basis. You can also create group chats, and every time you schedule a meeting, a chat is created for that as well. And inside a chat, we've got a bunch of great tools you can use to better communicate with each other, such as like emojis and GIFs, and different formatting tools. And you can really personalize your communications with those. And you can also chat with people outside of your organization with secure guest access. And then this is, I guess, the bulk of Teams is about the actual teams that you have on the platform. And what a team is basically is just a group of people that are brought together to work towards a common goal. So within a team, you can organize and share all kinds of different content that everyone may need to help work on a specific project. You can also allow other people outside of your organization to participate within these teams in a secure way. You can also integrate various apps and things to even extend the functionality of Teams to help manage tasks, plan different things, and create lists to improve the productivity of your team, all within the same space, which is really cool. All right, and this is that co-authoring feature that I mentioned earlier. And basically what it is it Teams allows you to work on Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all those types of documents directly within the application itself. So you don't have to switch between different windows when you're working on multiple things at once. You can do it all in Teams. And not only that, but you can also collaborate in real time with multiple people on a single document. And we'll be showing you exactly what this looks like later on as well. But it's a really great feature. Instead of having to pass documents between each other and have one person make a change and then pass it off to the other person to make a change, you can make those changes all at once at the same time, while also being able to chat about what it is that you are working on and making comments within the document itself to really plan out and communicate what needs to be done within a document. All right, and then finally, we've got different ways to improve meetings and chats with those integrated apps. And so within Teams, you can integrate various apps to, like I said, extend the functionality of not only your teams, but also within your chats and also within your meetings. You can also add different like messaging extensions and virtual chatbots and different apps within your meetings, like a whiteboard, for example, is a great way that you can brainstorm and collaborate on a virtual whiteboard and do different diagrams and things like that, and we can show what that looks like as well. Okay, so now we're actually going to dive into the live demonstration of Teams. So let me exit out of this presentation and move to our Teams here. This is full screen. I don't really know what's going on. Oh, all right. So we're going to be working within the web-based version of Teams today. And so the color scheme might be slightly different compared to what you may be used to on the desktop version of Teams. But the actual location of all of the icons and the settings and everything should be the same between the two. So you'll be able to follow along with all the different places that I'll be taking you within Teams. So we're going to be starting the rundown of everything on the top right. This is where you're going to find your profile picture or profile badge. When you click on it, you're going to see your account information, such as your name, your organization email, and of course your profile picture. Since I'm working with a demo account for today's demonstration, this doesn't reflect my actual information. This is just a random one that we have accessible to us for these demo purposes. Anyway, we're going to move on to the actual things that you can do within Teams. So from this profile badge, you can change your profile picture by just clicking on the little circular icon here. And that will update your profile picture for all of your Microsoft applications. So not only will it update in Teams, but it'll also update for like Outlook and SharePoint and all that good stuff. So it updates across all of your Microsoft services. Right next to your profile picture is going to be your availability status. And when you click on it, it's going to give you the option to change it manually. By default, it will your availability status will change based on what you are doing. So automatically, if you're working within Teams, your status will be set as available. However, if you join a call within Teams, or if you have an appointment set in, say, Outlook, during that time frame, then your availability status will automatically change to busy, letting people know that you're currently doing something else, and you might not respond immediately if they tried to message you. There's also this mode called Do Not Disturb, and this is great if you're working on something and you don't want any notifications popping up from Teams to distract you. What Do Not Disturb mode will do is mute all Teams notifications. That way you can really focus on the task at hand. Next, you've got Be Right Back and Appear Away. They are pretty much the same thing, but you can use these for like little short breaks that you might be going on, such as like a lunch break. And then finally, you've got Appear Offline, where it makes you seem like you aren't logged in when you actually are. At the very bottom, you're going to see duration and status. Duration is great. This actually allows you to schedule exactly how long you want to be set for a specific status before it resets to the default, basically, or automatic setting. So if I click on duration, say I was going to be on lunch for an hour, I can just say that I'll be right back. I can set my status right here, and then I can change when I want that status to reset. So if I'm going on a 1 hour lunch, I can set it for 1 hour, hit done, and then it's going to change my status to whatever it was I set. And then it also lets me know that it will switch back at 1:14 p.m. So this is a great way to really, or to easily let people know what it is that you're up to and when to expect a response if they message you. Right next to your availability status is going to be Set Status Message. And this is kind of performs the same type of function where you're letting people know what you're up to and what to expect if they message you. So you can type in lunch. I'll be back at 1:14. You can type that into your status message. And you can check this little box here that shows people this status message when they try to contact me via a chat or within a team. So that way they know exactly what's going on, and that I'll probably not respond to anything until 1:14. And then I can also choose how long I want the status message to show. So since it's a 1 hour lunch, I could set it to be 1 hour. But of course, for any occasion, I can change it to however long I need. I can have it set for an entire week, or I can customize the duration as well. And I can choose exactly what time that that status message would reset. But for this purpose, we're just going to set it to an hour. All right, and now you can see my status is my message is showing in chat and channels when people message or @mention me until that set time. So definitely cool little tools to easily let people know what's going on. All right, so right next to the profile badge, we're going to move on to this 3 dots menu, or also known as like an ellipses menu. And also whenever you see a three dots or ellipses menu within Teams, you can just kind of think of it as like a more options menu. So anytime you see that, you can click on the three dots and it will open up a menu where you can see different options. So in this case, the three dots menu next to your profile badge is going to pull up your settings here. So when we click on that, it's going to open up your settings window. And this is where you can go in and change various settings within Teams. So we're not going to go over everything in depth because it's quite a bit to cover, but generally speaking, you can change like the theme of Teams, which is like the color layout. So I definitely recommend playing around with these since, at least for me, I prefer the dark mode, which is easier on the eyes. But it's nice knowing that you can change the color scheme of Teams. Of course, you've got account information. This is where you can manage your Microsoft account or sign out of it if you need to. You've got different privacy settings here that you can access. Read receipts is a pretty interesting one, or a pretty handy one. By default, it's enabled, and it basically lets people know when you've read a message, but you can turn that off if you would prefer. Notification settings are probably the most important settings within Teams, since if you're like me and you're a part of a lot of different groups and teams and chats within Teams, then you'll get bombarded constantly with different notifications from the app. But if you go in and tweak your notification settings, you can choose when you get notifications. So you can turn off all notifications for your chats if you wanted to, and only be notified about maybe meetings or app mentions. So definitely tweak these settings if you feel like the notifications that you're getting are overwhelming at this point and are doing more harm than good. All right. And then, of course, you've got captions and transcripts settings, and then finally call settings down here. So if you really want to personalize and customize your team's experience, I definitely recommend going through these and getting it set up to what works best for you. Okay, so next we're going to go over the search bar up here at the top. And this is where, of course, you can search for anything within Teams, be it contacts, messages, or files, or apps even. So it's a very powerful tool. You can find anything within Teams from here, but you can also execute different commands from the search bar as well. So if I type in / in this box here, you'll see this list of different actions pop up. And these are different commands that you can issue directly within the search bar here, which and these will execute different actions without you having to go and find that action through different menus and things through Teams. So for example, if you wanted to set your status to busy really quickly, you can just do / and type in busy and hit enter, and that will execute that command. Instead of having to go over to the right, click on your profile, click on the availability status menu, and then set it from there. So if you really want to like streamline and really make your Teams navigation experience as efficient as possible, then I definitely recommend learning some of these commands here, since they can really speed up different processes within Teams. Okay, before we move on from the search bar real quick, I want to show you the different filters that you have available to you when you're searching. So if I type in a search term within the search box and I hit enter, just like with any web browser, it's going to show you a list of results. In Teams case, it's on this left-hand side, and when you click on them, it's going to bring up that item where it's finding your search criteria within. I'll pop it up over here on the right. But if you really wanted to narrow down your search results, you can filter it by name of the person that created that post or content. You can also filter it by type. So only things that you see within a chat or only things that you see within a channel. And you can also filter by subject and time. So if you remember that a post or the post that you're looking for was made within a specific week, say last week, then you can search that date range if you wanted to. And you have these broad filters up here on the top as well. So you can filter between messages, people, and files. So the filters are great if you're trying to find something and it's just coming up with too many results and none of them, and it's just too difficult going through them all. You can filter them instead to find more specific hits. Okay, so now we're going to move on to where most of you will be spending a majority of your time within Teams, and that's going to be the left-hand rail here. Starting from the top, which is going to be your activity tab. And this is going to be basically your notification center. This is where you'll get those little notifications letting you know that someone has mentioned you or made a post within a channel that you are a part of. It's all going to be right here. Sorted by most recent at the top to least recent at the bottom. And just like with the side panel when we were using the search, when you click on any one of these items, it's going to pull up that post that this notification is relating to, and it highlights it in yellow so you can easily see what post it's referring to. So the Activity Center is a great way to go through and catch up on anything that you may have missed. At the moment, I don't have any unread messages or unread activity items, but if I did, those would be in bold black lettering, letting me know that I haven't gone through them yet. You'll also get a little red number up on the top right here next to the activity like bell icon, and that will let you know how many unread activity or notifications you have. So the icons also let you know what kind of activity it is that that notification is referring to. So in this case, the @ symbol means that someone mentioned me, and then the little arrow means that someone replied to a message. So if you're very like picture and visual oriented, having these little notification icons are kind of handy, letting you know exactly what's going on and what kind of activity is happening. All right, so by default, you're going to see this what's called feed view of activity. But if you click on the little drop-down arrow, you can switch it to My Activity instead. And what this will do is instead of showing all the activity that other people have done that's related to you in that list, the My Activity view will instead show everything that you have done within Teams. So any posts that you have created within a channel, those are all going to show up within the My Activity section. So this is a great way to go back and like say you posted a question within a channel and you don't exactly remember which one it was and you want to check up on whether or not people have responded. You can go into My Activity and then find that post a lot more easily through this list and find exactly where it was. And you can also see any other posts that were made either around it or in direct response to it or after it. All right, and then finally, you've got this little cogwheel here on the right side. This is where you can access your settings again, and this will take you directly to your notification settings, so you can easily go in and tweak anything if you need to while you're browsing your activity. All right, so now we're going to move on to chat. And there's going to be quite a bit of content that you can, or quite a bit of stuff that you can do within a chat. Like I said, the chats are your one-on-one, your group, and your meeting communications. And the main difference between a chat and a team is just going to be that a team is a much larger group and more of like a shared workspace. Whereas a chat is more private feeling and normally reserved for smaller groups, if you do have a group chat at all. But in terms of actual functionality, they're quite similar, and you'll see that in just a moment. So let me actually dismiss that notification real quick. So we're going to start with the different things that you can do in the actual messaging box within your chats. So you'll see down here, you've got a little text field where you can type out your message. So we're going to chat to Adele and say, hello, how is your, well, I can type. Go on. And just like with any other instant messaging system, if I just hit the enter key now, that is going to send the message. However, if I wanted to type in something and I didn't want to send the message, but instead put in a line break, instead of hitting just enter, you can hold shift and then hit enter, and that will put line breaks into your message. All right, and Teams within chat also lets you know when someone is typing. So this is a great, this little tool that lets you know exactly what's going on within your chat. That way, you don't, definitely agree with that. You don't type something before they finish. But yeah, so anyway, so with the message box down here, you have the ability to just send regular messages. You also have all these tools down at the bottom here. We'll go over these individually real quick. The very first one, the A with the pencil looking icon, that's going to be your formatting toolbar. When you click on that, it's going to pop up with some different formatting options. So you can add bold text, italicize text, change indentation, all that good stuff. So this is great if you're making or you have a lot of stuff in your message, a lot of text, and you don't want it to be just like a big solid wall of writing. You can make things a little bit easier to read and look a little bit nicer by formatting it with these formatting tools. And then if you change your mind and you don't need the formatting tools, you can just click that the A icon again, and it will get rid of the toolbar. And if you have started writing a message and you just want to delete it and you don't need it anymore, you can just hit the little delete icon here on the top right, the little trash can, and that will trash your message and give you a fresh blank slate. All right, right next to the formatting is going to be this exclamation point, and these are delivery options. This is where you can change your, I guess, importance of your message. By default, it's the standard importance setting where it's just like a normal looking message. But if you change it to important, it's going to mark it with this bold, all in caps, important header. And this little red sidebar here, letting the recipient know that this is an important message and that they should probably look at it. And then the last option within these important or delivery options is the urgent setting. And what this does is it notifies the recipient every 2 minutes for a total of 20 minutes until they read the message. So definitely don't recommend using the urgent status unless it's a true emergency, since it will just bother the person every 2 minutes until they look at it. So definitely reserve these for true emergencies, so that way you don't really annoy people with that status message, unless you really do want to just mess around with them and annoy them. All right, right next to the exclamation point, you've got the paperclip, which is your attach feature. This is where you can upload a file from your computer if you want, or directly from your OneDrive. We're just gonna show the upload from computer option. We're gonna select one of these files here. You can just choose what file you want to upload. You can also select multiple if you want to, but just for this demo, we're gonna select one, and you'll see, oh, it already exists. We're just gonna replace. You'll see this little green bar go based on the progress of the upload. Once it's done uploading, the green bar will disappear, letting you know that it is uploaded. We've got some more messages from Adele. Let's say, please review this before tomorrow's meeting. And then we'll hit enter. And that will send the file to Adele within the chat. And she has reacted to the message. Speaking of reactions, you can react to different messages, kind of like you would like on Facebook, for example. So If I wanted to like something that Adele has sent, I can just hover over that post, select one of these reactions here, and it will put that reaction on the top right there. So that's just a great way of letting the person know or let them know that you've acknowledged the post, that you've seen it, but you don't really want to type out a full response. You can just easily react to it instead, letting them know that you have indeed seen it and interacted with it. While we're on the topic of that and the actual chat here, there's also the read receipts. Down at the very bottom, you'll see this little eyeball icon. This is letting me know that Adele has seen this message. So if I turned read receipts off, she would not get this little eyeball icon. Or if she turned read receipts off, then I would not see this eyeball icon letting me know that she has read this message. Okay. So we're going to continue going down these different tools. You've got your emojis, which is the little face icon. This is just like when you're texting, you can use the little emojis. Next, you've got GIFs, and these are animated little images they can use to react with, and they're just fun to use and can make your messaging and communications a little bit more fun and exciting throughout the workday. And you can search by theme if you want to. So since it is really humid, I wonder if we can just type in humid and you can find all kinds of fun GIFs related to that search term. All right, so next to GIFs, you've got stickers, and these are just static images that you can use, again, just to personalize your messages. Right next to that, you've got the ability to schedule a meeting with the person that you are chatting with or the people that you're chatting with. So if it's a group chat, it will automatically invite everyone within that group chat to your meeting. If it's just a one-on-one, it will only be a meeting between the two of you. Right next to that, you've got your stream. This is where you can upload stream videos. Then you've got praise. This is a little badge icon, and what it does is kind of you can use it to give kudos to your colleagues. Just let them know that you appreciate them, that sort of thing. And then finally, you've got approvals, which typically isn't used too much. You use this maybe to ask for permission, to access something, maybe, or to be approved to join a specific team or channel, that sort of thing. But throughout the many years that I've been using Teams, I've never once used the approvals here before. Okay, so that covers all the different tools down here that you can use when you're chatting with your colleagues. Next, we're going to move up to the top bar up here. This little people icon, you can click this to add more people into your chat. So if I wanted to create a group chat with Adele, myself, and some other people, say we wanted to invite Alex, Deborah, and say Johanna, I can just type in the names of those people, add them into this list, and then once I'm done, I can hit add, and that will create a brand new group chat with those people that I've added. However, you'll see that the original chat with Adele, that still exists, and that's a completely separate thing compared to the one that I just created with the other people. So you'll also notice that this is a draft. So this group chat that I've created doesn't technically exist quite yet since I have not sent a message. So we'll just type in a quick message. And now you'll see that the draft little subheader has disappeared. And this group chat is now solidified within Teams. All right. So next, right next to the right next to the add people icon, you've got your calling buttons. So these will initiate impromptu calls or on-the-spot calls with those people within that chat. So if I were to click on any one of these, it would immediately initiate a call with Adele, Alex, Deborah, and the other two that I have invited. So I can initiate a video call if I want, or just an audio call. And do keep in mind that there is a difference between scheduled meetings within Teams and impromptu calls within meetings or within Teams. So the impromptu calls, you don't get quite as many features. when you're actually in that call. Whereas with a scheduled meeting, you're going to have a lot more different features available to you. Okay, moving on from there, we've got our tabs up here at the very top. As you can see, when you create a new chat, by default, you're going to have a chat tab and then a files tab. And so chat is, of course, where you're going to see the actual messages within that chat. And then files is where you're going to see any files that have been shared to that chat. So we don't have any files in here since it's brand new. But if we went to the chat that I have with Adele and I click on files, you're going to see that that document that I uploaded into this chat. And all files that are shared within a chat are made available to everyone that's within that chat. So if I shared a file to this Adele, Alex, Deborah, and 2 other people chat, then all of them within this chat will be able to access that one file. So I can upload more files to this if I wanted to by hitting the little share button. And again, it's going to ask me if I want to upload from my OneDrive or from my computer. And once I pick a document, it's going to add it in here. And it does basically the same thing as attaching a file from the little message toolbar. Okay, so you can also add more tabs to your little tab bar up here. So if I went to the Adele chat, let me delete this one real quick. All right, so if I wanted to add a new tab to the chat, I can click this little plus sign here, and then it's going to bring up a list of all the different apps that I can integrate within this chat. However, the tabs or apps that you have available to you is probably going to look quite a bit different from what I have available to me, since your organization is in charge of basically restricting access to certain apps if they don't want you to integrate certain ones. So you might only have access to Microsoft first-party developed apps instead of the full spread. So it might look a little bit different. But anyway, if you do have the Microsoft first-party apps available to you to integrate, you can say add a Word tab to your chat. And then when you do select that, you can choose which document you want to pin up at the very top there. So we only have one document available to us since it's the only one that we've uploaded. And then we could choose whether or not we want to post to the chat about this tab being created. That way everyone knows that it's now available up there. So we'll leave that checked. And we'll hit save. And now you'll see this new Word tab is now at the top. And by default, it's just going to be the name of that tab is just going to be the name of the app that you just added. However, you can click on the little drop-down arrow to go in and rename that tab if you want. And you can have as many tabs as you would like up here in the chat. Once you start running out of actual space between the different icons here, it'll just pop them into a little drop-down menu where you can then select the tab that you would like to view. So you can just add a bunch of different apps, such as like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but also maybe different planning and task management apps to extend the functionality of your actual interactions between either your one-on-one chats or your group chats. All right, so now we're going to move on to the Teams section. So like I said, the Teams part is going to be where you've got your larger groups coming together in that shared workspace. And so you've got these teams set up here, and you'll be able to view all the teams that you're a part of in this left-hand list here. And each team is going to have different channels. And you can kind of think of a team as a folder, and then the channels as subfolders within that folder. And you can organize your teams and channels however you'd like. like we've created these test teams where it's just a bunch of random demo accounts, but you can create teams based on maybe different branches within your organization, um, or if you can have them organized by different goals. And then you can also organize your sub-channels or your channels in the same way, with maybe separating people into different projects, having their own channels, and so on and so forth. So within the team, it's actually going to look quite similar to what you see in chat, where you've got all your different communications with your shared files and messages and all that good stuff. But you're also going to see that there's a little bit more structure within a team's like chat, basically, or I guess that makes things a little bit confusing. Just within the team's channels, they're going to be structured differently from a team's chat. So the conversations that you have within a team channel, they're going to be threaded. So you can see that instead of just sending a message, I need to create a new conversation if I wanted to like start a new topic. And we'll just make this a test message. And so when you create a new conversation within a team, people can respond directly to that message instead of just typing into the box and then having something sent within the chat with no way to reply specifically to a message. Instead, within a team, you have to respond directly to either an already made conversation, or you can create a conversation yourself. So if instead of having to say in reference to message so-and-so sent at this time, you can just respond directly to that message in a team instead. So it's a little bit more organized. However, beyond that, the actual tools that you have at your disposal for creating those messages are going to be the same in a team as in a chat. So you'll still get like your formatting tools, your attachments, the emojis and all that good stuff. So if I wanted to reply to a message to Adele's message here, I can just hit reply, and I can type, yes, I did that invitation. Now you'll see that that reply is added to the chain of this conversation instead of being posted at the bottom. All right. One other thing that's unique to a team communication-wise is you have the option of creating an announcement within a team. So when I click on that formatting button at the bottom there, you'll get a few more options up here on the top left. So these aren't available to you when you're chatting in those chats, but when you're in a team and you're creating a new post, instead of just having it be sent as a regular conversation, you can switch it to an announcement instead, and that will just give you a header for the post. So that way it stands out a little bit more. So we can just say, I'll just make post. You can add a subhead if you would like, and then of course you can type in the body of your message. And within this body, you can also add in like GIFs and emojis and really personalize it if you would like. You can change the color of your header if you want, and there are these pre-made color schemes that you can choose from. And then on the right here, if you click on that little like landscape image, you can also upload a custom background image if you want, if you really want to make your announcement nice and fancy. So that's something that is unique to the Teams posts as opposed to your chats. Next, you also have the option of changing who can reply to your message. So you can have it to where everyone can interact with the post and reply, or you can change it to where only you and moderators can reply. And moderators are just owners of that team or channel. And then finally, you can choose to post whatever it is that you're creating in multiple channels. And this just allows you to choose different channels to post into. That way you don't have to copy and paste the same message into a bunch of different teams if you were making an announcement that affects multiple teams that you're a part of. Okay, so we're just gonna scrap this post though, since that was just demonstrating the different features. Real quick, we're also going to go over @ mentions. So that little @ symbol that we saw within the activity section, those are @ mentions, and they're basically a way that you could specifically call someone out within a post or a message. So if I wanted to get Adele's attention on this conversation, I can hold Shift and press 2 to add in that @ symbol, and then I can type in the name of the person that I would like to mention. We'll just say Adele, select her name, and then it will highlight her name in purple for me. Are there any updates? We can hit enter. And what it will do is it will give Adele a notification letting her know that someone has mentioned her specifically. And if someone mentions me specifically, like in this post here, you will see that in red, and you'll get this little red @ icon on the left here, letting you know that someone is trying to get your attention. So mentions are a great way to call specific people out. All right. So moving on from the actual conversation side, again, you've got these different tools on the top right. So you're going to be able to get more options from the ellipses menu here. And you can pin this channel if you want. And what that will do is just make it visible at all times underneath this team. And then if you're an owner of that team or an owner of that channel, you can access different settings for that channel from here as well. Right next to the ellipses menu is going to be this information icon with little I inside. This is where you can see all members of that team, as well as who's recently contributed, and then what kind of activity has been going on within the team. Right next to that, you're going to see the Meet button, and this is, again, like the impromptu on-the-spot calling, and that will call everyone within the team. However, if you want to actually schedule a meeting, you can do so by clicking on that little drop-down arrow and clicking on the Schedule a Meeting button instead. All right, and then of course you've got these different tabs up here on the top, very similar to what we saw in the chat. So instead of having a chat tab, you have a posts tab, but it's essentially the same thing where it shows all of the different like conversation that's been going on within that team or channel. Files is also very similar, where you're going to see all of the different files that have been shared to the team. And you can access them by clicking on a specific document, and that will open up that document within Teams. Oh, while we are on the topic of the documents, let me show co-authoring real quick. I know we're kind of running up on time, but this is a pretty cool feature that I want to go over real quick. So when you open up a document that's currently being shared either with someone in a chat or within a team, like I said, you can collaborate with those people that you've shared it with in real time. So when I open up this shared document with Adele, we are going to be able to type and make formatting changes at the same exact time. So I'm going to wait a moment for her to pop in, but it'll show all the people that are currently working on the document with you right here in this little space. Their badge icon will show up. And then also you'll be able to see where their cursor is on the document and see exactly what they're typing. So you can easily collaborate with your colleagues on documents in this way instead of having to pass a document back and forth. So there you see she just popped in. It shows, if you hover over the badge, it even lets you know where she is. It says on page 1. So let's take a look at page 1, and there her cursor is. So you can see exactly where they're at in the document. You can see what they're typing. And we can both make changes at the same time if we want. So it's really, really cool. You can have up to 99 people working in a document at once, though we don't recommend having the absolute maximum of people in a document, just because it can get pretty crazy with that many changes being made, unless it's an absolutely huge document. But even then, it can get pretty tricky working with that many people. So we recommend maybe at most 10 people in one document at a time. So you can do this with both PowerPoints, Excel documents, even like we're showing Word. So all like Microsoft developed apps you can typically collaborate in at the same time. Okay. And then back to our tabs section here. Just like in the chat, you can add more tabs to extend the functionality within that team by clicking that plus sign. So I can choose what I want to add. I can choose to add a channel calendar if I wanted to. And then I can try to, or I can give it a specific name. We'll just call this shared calendar. You can have it posted in the channel that you've created and then hit save. And that will create the new tab, in this case, a calendar. So, and you can have, again, as many tabs as you want within a team. Once you start running out of space, you'll just have that drop down menu to select the tab that you want to select. Okay, so that covers most of the different stuff you can do within a team. Next, we're going to quickly go over some general functionality with the calendar here. And so the calendar is synced with your Outlook calendar. Any appointments that you have in your Outlook calendar will also be shown in your Teams calendar. And this is just a visual breakdown of what obligations you have throughout the week. You can also change the view of your calendar, so you can change it to only show what you've got going on in the day. If you only want to focus on what's happening on that day, you can have it show just a work week, which is the default. And then you can change it to show the whole week, both Saturday and Sunday, if you want to see what's going on those days as well. I prefer work week though, since I do not work weekends. So the more focused view is a little bit nicer and cleaner looking. Using these arrows, I can switch between the different weeks. So I can scrub through those different weeks if I want to see what's been going on in the past and also what we've got scheduled for the future. I can also click on this drop-down arrow next to the month and select a week from here as well. So you have full flexibility in seeing what pops up in your calendar view. From here, you can also create new meetings if you want. So I can schedule a new meeting using this button here. I can also create or just call people by hitting the Meet Now if I wanted to just call someone. I can also schedule a webinar or a live event from this little drop-down arrow next to the new meeting. But we're just interested in creating a new meeting here. So when I click on new meeting, it's going to bring me to the, I guess, the meeting wizard. This is where you can put in the details of your meeting. So of course, I'm just going to ask for a title. You can add your required attendees. You could choose to add optional attendees if you want. And that these two fields work in the same way, and that you just type in the names of the people you want to invite. So we're just going to invite Adele and Alex. And the cool thing is it also lets you know whether or not that person is free for the time that you have scheduled. So you can see here underneath their names that they are free for the time I have set for this meeting. So currently it's set for today, starting at 1 and ending at 1:30. They are free during that time. But if I were to change it to say all day instead, it actually lets me know that both Adele and Alex have stuff going on during that time frame, which is the full 24 hours. So Adele actually has stuff that calls that she has accepted, whereas Alex He hasn't accepted any calls during this time, but he has been invited to some, or he has set his response as tentative to some during this time frame. But we're just going to switch it back to the 30-minute. You can also change whether or not your meeting repeats by changing the setting here. So you can have it set to repeat every weekday if you want, daily, weekly, monthly, even custom. So you can really control exactly how frequently this meeting happens. You can choose to invite an entire channel if you want to this meeting. And what will happen is it will post this meeting basically to that channel. All right, you can add a location if you want. And then at the very bottom, you can type in any details for the meeting. So if you have any notes set or information you want to give out to people that they need to review before joining the meeting, you can put it in here. And then finally, I want to show you the scheduling assistant. And so this is a great visual aid when creating a meeting within Teams. So it actually shows you exactly what people have going on during the day. So these purple blocks are actually times at which the people that I have invited so far have obligations already. And then, of course, this blank space here is where everyone is free. So I can drag this little slider here, this little handlebar. This will change the duration of the meeting. And then if I click on the actual purple spot, I can slide around and change the start and end time of the meeting as well. So if you like being able to see exactly what's going on with your meetings and see when people are busy, the scheduling assistant is a great way to do that and easily find times that work for everyone or as many people as possible that you would like to have attend your meeting. So you have the same tools as you would in the regular details view, where you can add more attendees and optional attendees and the location as well. So definitely a really great way to schedule your meetings in a way that allow the most people to join. All right, and finally, once you've got your meeting set up the way you'd like, you just hit send, and that will send the meeting invites to those that you have invited. And now you can see that meeting is now in our calendar. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I'm gonna just quickly go over calls. Calls is where you can just do an impromptu call or on-the-spot call with your colleagues. You can also, if you have the feature, make calls to landline and cellular phones, but that's only if you have that add-on. The very bottom here, files. This is where you can view all of your files within Teams, as well as recent files that you've interacted with or have been shared with you. So you can open up those documents from here. You can also see when they were last modified and the location that document resides in. You can also directly access your cloud storage right here as well. So if you just want to see what's in your OneDrive, you can go to your files, select OneDrive, and find all of your files in there. All right, so that is all of our time that we've got today. Sorry that we didn't, normally we have a little Q&A session at the end, but since there was so much information, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have time for that. But you can put all of your questions in the chat. Like I said, these chats are persistent, so we should be able to see them even after this meeting has ended. So we'll do our best to answer them, anything that you pop in there. We're also going to be putting a little survey link within that chat panel asking how we did. Well, we please do ask that you fill that out. It's a really quick survey. It's 3 questions, 3, I guess, required questions. It takes about like a minute to fill out. We do ask for 9s or 10s if you do feel like filling that out for us. But if you don't think that we deserved a score of a 9 or a 10, please let us know in the comments of the survey what we could have improved on, since we're always looking to do better with our training sessions. So yeah, that ends our presentation today. I hope you all were able to learn something new and that you found this information to be useful to you. So I hope you all have a lovely day.